Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into one single idea that honestly helps explain so much about why Iran acts the way it does on the world stage. We're talking about a deep historical condition of being strategically, well, alone. So, to really get a handle on Iran's actions, its fears, and even its ambitions, we have to try and answer this one central question. And it's a question that recent events have made more urgent than ever before.
And look, the answer here isn't something you'll just find in today's headlines or by looking at the current government. No, this is a historical pattern, a story that's been repeating itself and shaping the Iranian national psyche for literally thousands of years.
And that brings us to this really key concept, strategic loneliness, or tanhai-i strategic in Farsi. The idea, which was first really laid out by Professor Mohiuddin Misbahi, is simple, but it's incredibly profound. It means that when things get really serious, we're talking moments of existential crisis, Iran is fundamentally on its own.
Okay, but here's something we really have to get straight. Being strategically alone is not the same thing as being politically isolated. They might sound similar, but they are two completely different things. I mean, think of it this way. Political isolation is a choice. It's like you decide to pull up your own drawbridge and cut yourself off from the world. But strategic loneliness, that's when you're in trouble, you call for help, and you find that everyone else has pulled up their drawbridges against you. It's not about wanting to be alone. It's about discovering you have no one to count on when it counts. And the thing is, Iran can't actually be isolated, even if it wanted to be. Its geography is, well, it's its destiny. You're sitting at this critical crossroads of continents, you're smack in the middle of the world's energy supply. That means the rest of the world is always going to have a stake in what happens there.
All right, so just how far back does this pattern go? Well, when you start looking at the historical evidence, you see this is definitely not a new problem. This is a recurring theme that stretches back for millennia.
I mean, just take a look at these numbers. They're pretty staggering. Over the last 2,700 years, Iran has been in 443 wars. More than half of those were defensive, and it's been completely overrun by major invasions 5 separate times. That's a history that's just defined by constant, relentless pressure from the outside.
In this timeline, wow, it just lays the pattern out so clearly. You go all the way back to ancient kings like Darius III facing Alexander the Great, and you come all the way forward to the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s, where both the US and the Soviet Union were backing Saddam Hussein's Iraq. The story is just shockingly consistent. In its hour of greatest need, Iran has always found itself without a great power ally.
Okay, so what's the end result of all this? I mean, after centuries of this painful history of being left alone, what does that actually force a nation to do? What's the practical real-world fallout?
Well, it seems to boil down to two big things you just can't avoid. First, this deep-seated belief that no major world power can ever be trusted as a truly reliable ally. And second, this tendency for regional neighbors, even ones who don't like each other, to kind of band together against Iran.
And this quote from Professor Misbahi really just hits the nail on the head. If history teaches you, again and again and again, that you can't rely on anyone outside your own borders for your survival, what's the only logical conclusion you can come to? You've got to look inward for your strength.
Right, and this leads us straight to the core strategic answer to this whole problem. If you can't trust anyone on the outside, you have to build up your strength from a completely different and hopefully more reliable source.
What's being argued here is a total shift in how you think about security. It's basically saying, hey, your real strength, your strategic depth, it isn't found by controlling land in other countries or having allies in faraway capitals. It's found right here, at home.
And this isn't just some vague, high-level idea either. It's built on a really clear foundation. So first, what's the focus? The relationship between the state and the nation, the government and its people. What's the method? To get unity at the top and plurality below, meaning leaders need to be cohesive, but they also have to respect the public's way of life. And the goal? Well, that's the tough one, finding that durable balance between national security and individual freedom.
You know, it's fascinating when you compare this to how Iran's last Shah saw things. For him, security was, well, it was basically outsourced. It was all dependent on his relationship with the United States. This alternate model we're talking about argues the exact opposite. True, lasting security has to be homegrown. It has to be generated from the strength of the nation itself. So when you boil it all down, after thousands of years of history, the hard-learned lesson seems to be this: Iran's only truly dependable ally is its own people. And that leaves us with one heck of a question to think about. If that's true, What does it demand from any government that wants to lead that nation?